I have a voiceover submission from a guy out of Texas. He's actually a musician and he wants to start getting into voiceover work. But he's asked me to process his voiceover with a custom preset using only iZotope's Nectar plugin. So we're going to hear what the difference is between the raw unprocessed file and the processed file using iZotope's Nectar. His name is Perry Walker, and he lives in Houston, Texas, and he and his wife actually produce music. I believe they've got some tunes on Spotify, which is really cool. So he's no stranger to studio work. I believe he's got a nice studio set up at home, a home studio with sound treatment. So that's really good, and I can hear it in his submission. So he's using a neat Worker B microphone and a Mo2 M4 interface, and he's using Studio One. I would say that Nectar by iZotope, that's the plugins and software that he wants me to use to process his voice. Nectar is kind of a vocal plugin, but it definitely has everything that you'd need, like EQ and compression and gating, but it also has reverbs and echoes and even pitch correction. So we're going to take a look at that. And as I've been mentioning, that I believe because I'm in a situation where I get all these submissions from different people around the world on different microphones and using different interfaces and preamps and stuff, it's kind of a cool thing to be able to share that, and I think there's a value to it. So today you're going to be hearing my voice on a neat King B2. This is their cardioid solid-state condenser XLR microphone, and I'm running through my Vintech X73i preamp, which has a little bit of EQ, just a touch of EQ on it today. So you're going to hear what these microphones sound like with a particular preamp to get an idea of the quality. And this microphone lists at $169 on their website. And the Worker B, which is what Perry is using, which is what we're going to hear in just a second, is even more inexpensive, which is a great price. And I think it sounds pretty good. Let's take a listen to his raw file. And I'll kind of walk you through what I look for and what I listen for when I first get a submission. The first thing I'm going to listen for is the noise in the room. I'm going to look to see that he's got a good recording level, and he looks like he's pretty close here. Actually, I think I lowered it about 3 dB, but we'll look at it on the VU meter. And then I'm going to listen for deficiencies in the EQ or overabundant frequency spaces in the EQ. And let's listen to a few seconds here of the submission.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. And I'm also interested in doing commercials as well. Now, I do have a background in audio recording. My wife and I have put out several singles on Spotify, but I've never done voiceover work, and it's new to me.
First of all, I think we've got a pretty good recording. I did lower the gain on this file about 3 dB. It was just a little bit hot, and I don't want it to peak anywhere, and I want to hit the sweet spots for the Nectar plugin that we're going to use, and we'll take a look at that in a second. But it actually sounds pretty good, and I'll tell you, I like the way this one sounds, and I also like the model that he's using, the Worker B. Both fairly inexpensive mics, but it just goes to show you that a microphone in a good recording space can serve you well. So sometimes it's good when you're thinking about a budget for voiceover equipment to make sure you have the acoustic treatment as part of your budget, because that sometimes raises the quality of your recordings more than an expensive microphone can. So listen for that while we're running through the processing here. Now, if we look at iZotope's website, and it's iZotope.com, iZotope. Nectar 3 is one of the plugins that's, I say it's directed more towards vocals and performance. If we look at some of the features that are included in this one multi-processing plugin called Nectar, we've got an equalizer. It's got pitch, so it can correct some singing. We won't use that for the voiceover stuff, but I will tell you it's fun to play with. Dimension is more for modulation. Again, that would be for performance and singing and instruments. Harmony, again, is another pitch tool that you could use. It's got a compressor. It's definitely one we're looking for, and I'm using 2 compressors and 2 EQs in this iteration we're going to go through. It's got reverb we won't use. De-esser we're definitely going to use, and so it has everything I think that we're going to need. Now, I have Nectar 4, and it comes with a subscription that I have for iZotope because I have a ton of their plugins, because a lot of my clients use different plugins, and iZotope, as you know, is used a lot for RX or restoration duties for sure. So I'm not exactly sure if the Nectar 3 and Nectar 4 presets are going to transfer, but we're going to figure that out. All right, let's take a look at the Nectar plugin here. And if you could look at how I've got this one set up, this is the preset I created. I've got, there's pitch at the front, which we're not using. You can activate it, turn it on and off, and we have it not, it's not being used. I've got a gate, an EQ, saturation, a compressor, a de-esser, another EQ, and another compressor. And I believe you can add even more. So you could move these things around, which is cool. And this is the order that I've chosen for this custom preset for Perry. And if you look at the gate, we'll start with the gate, which is cool because it's got two thresholds. The first one is you could set when the gate opens. The second one you set and tell it when to close the gate. The ratio is how much the gain is reduced once the gate closes. So it has all the controls you need to really massage it and manipulate the gate to make it as transparent as possible. So let's listen to the audio without the gate, and then we'll activate it and hear the difference.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor.
Now with the gate activated.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor.
Does a great job, and I really like the visual display here because it could show you where his loudest consonants and quietest vowels are, and the quietest parts of his speech and the loudest parts of his speech, so you can really dial in the open and closed threshold for this gate. Now the next thing we did was an EQ, and we'll take a look at what I did here. There is a resonance that I heard, which is number 9. First of all, I like this EQ. It's dynamic, which is something that I've been using more and more, so you can compress certain frequency spaces, which is great. And I'm using 9 bands in this setup, and this first EQ that I've got here, which is a lot. And I think you can add more. I don't know what the limit is, but I'm able to change the slopes. Everything that I'd want to do with an EQ, this one does, and it sounds pretty good too. So I'm going to take off the gate, and let's listen to just what this first EQ is doing. We'll play it without the EQ, and then we'll engage the EQ so you can hear the difference.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor.
We'll listen to it once again, but listen for how the balance and the evenness of all the frequency spaces is changing. And that's really what I try to do, is make it to where every little frequency area of his voice, depending upon if there was overabundant spaces and deficiencies, every little area I've tried to make even, so you hear them all evenly. And let's listen to it once again without and with the EQ.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. And I'm also interested in doing commercials as well. Now, I do have a background in audio recording. My wife and I have put out several singles on Spotify.
Now, the difference and the changes I've made here is my impression, what I hear through my speakers, and what I thought would be a pleasing, even pleasing sound for the first EQ, which is where I like to do most of the work in getting it really close. The second EQ I use for sweetening, which is just wider strokes, and we'll do that down the path. Let's take a look at the next plugin, which is saturation. And saturation I've talked about in some previous videos. When used heavily, saturation kind of turns into a distortion type of sound. Think of an electric guitar. There's a clean electric sound and there's a distorted electric guitar. You're driving the amplifier to where it breaks up, but that saturation, that distortion, that light distortion, it actually adds material to the audio. It thickens up the audio by adding odd and even harmonics is what they call it, but it just makes the sound a little thicker. When you use it lightly, it's a pleasing type of a sound. It's very interesting, and it just adds something to the audio. And you'll hear the difference, especially in the higher frequencies. And we'll cycle this on and off. First, let's start without the saturation. I'm going to run through that same audio again, just because it's good to compare. So let's do it without the saturation and listen in the upper frequencies, how it just brightens it up and makes it just a little thicker.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor.
Yes, it's a very, very minuscule change. So what I'm going to do is let's go back and I'm going to play it and I'm going to crank this so you can hear actually what it's doing.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. And I'm also interested in doing commercials as well. Now, I do have a background in audio recording. My wife and I have put out several singles on Spotify, but I've never done voiceover work.
And when I say it's a minuscule type of change, it's true. But when you add compression and you layer some of the other effects, that small, minuscule change is amplified. So it's like a little pinch of salt, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it gives you that flavor at the end. That's really what we're doing is we're stacking all this stuff. So it's easy to overdo it. And one of the things I like about this saturation module is that I think I had it about 20%. Is that maybe a more. It lightens up or colors the saturated frequencies in kind of this orange-yellow color when it's activated. So it shows you when it's actually happening. But it also has a bunch of different flavors. And we're using the tape, which is one of the more mellow, saturation, warm type of tones. All right, next we've got a compressor. The compressor has a lot of different features as well. We've got different flavors of compression. There's a digital, a vintage, which may give a little more of that saturation color. There's an optical, which runs kind of smooth and slower, and then a solid state, which will give you kind of a transformer type of a sound. And I'm using the digital for this one, and we'll do the same thing. We'll play it first without the compression, and then I'll engage it. Let's take a listen.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor.
This instance on this module, I'm using the compressor very much in a transparent way, and that's what I wanted. Before the compressor and after the compressor, the difference you're listening for here is how much the change in volume. When he says, I'd like to become a voiceover actor, it gets louder and then quieter, and he's emphasizing certain words. But after you add the compressor, even the loudest words that he's saying and the lower, quieter words that he's saying are very they're very even. And that volume change, I've minimized the change in volume with this compressor, and I try to do it in a very transparent way. You really can't tell that it's working. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And what happens is when you compress that dynamic range and then you raise the whole thing up, it just sounds more in front of your face. That's what compression used this way will do for a voiceover. So now that I've pointed your ears to a specific thing to listen to, let's check it out again. I'll play it without and then with, and listen for that change in dynamics and also how transparent it is.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor.
I think it does a great job for that use. Now, the digital flavor of the compressor and this mode that it's in is very transparent, which I like, and it has a ratio how much compression is going to be applied after it goes over the threshold. Again, that beautiful readout, so you can know exactly where to set the threshold on which it's going to be compressing on the stuff that passes the threshold. It is not going to be using the compressor on the lower stuff, and then the whole thing gets raised. Let's move on to the de-esser. I maybe haven't seen all of the features, but I wish I was able to just pick a frequency space and to have 3 bands, and you can't. In this particular de-esser in Nectar, it's, hey, pick where the frequency is, and then everything above that, or for you, I guess it would be that way, everything above that frequency is going to be attenuated with a compressor on just that the frequencies that are above whatever threshold you set. So it is very powerful. I feel like it does a really when you make a move with the threshold, you hear the difference. So it has a lot of leverage. So let's listen to the before and after de-esser module.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor.
You can see if you look at the meter here, at most I'm getting about 3 decibels of reduction when his S's are really apparent, and it's great. It does a great job. I'm complaining a little bit or saying mentioning the things that it doesn't have, but it really does a good job. Again, it may sound like, is a de-esser really necessary? But remember, I'm only showing you the de-esser independently of all the other modules that are on. But so when it's on all together, it works really nicely. And I'm going to play that for you towards the end. The second EQ, it is a sweetening. And when I say sweetening, I mean that I'm using it with more broad strokes, bigger cues, so softer curves. They're shallow, and little bumps, like the highs I'm raising up and the lows I'm maybe raising up a little bit, scooping out some stuff. But all the changes I'm making are they're broad changes. And when I'm using the second EQ for sweetening, they're very broad strokes. You could see that they're shallow curves if we look at the EQ, and they're not that big. Some of the, let's see, which one is this? This is 2.8 reduction in gain. This is boosting 1.8 dB. They're fairly small changes compared to the changes we made in some of the bands of this first EQ. So let's listen to what this EQ does and the changes it makes before and after processing.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor.
I want you to hear the EQ and what it's doing by itself, because I think that's really important, independently from all the other effects. So you can hear how much this particular module is changing the audio. But for sure, this one, you definitely want to dial it in and use it when all the other plugins are engaged. And I think what I'm going to do is, coming up, what I'll do is I'll switch on each one of these modules so you can hear as they stack up and gradually add to the final overall sound. The second and last effect in this plugin processing chain here, and it is a compressor, and I'm using it in the optical mode. And this is definitely has more of a slower, warm, thicker, kind of a smooth sound to it. You can see we're using a very, very slow attack, and you can see as the audio goes back to its normal level, it's a slow, shallow type of a curve. It doesn't jump right back up, and that has its own sound. Let's listen to the second compressor and the difference it makes before and after engaging it.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. And I'm also interested in doing commercials as well.
And the utility for an opto compressor in this particular situation, I'm using it as more of in sentences or word sections. So if he's quiet at a certain passage, it slowly brings it up. And if he's really loud, it'll slowly bring it down. Second compressor, just to, again, keep things on a really consistent volume basis for the final presentation. And, the changes that these things are making, again, really minute. An average of 1 to 3 decibels change, which is not a lot, but when you stack it with the other plugins, it yields a really cool sound. And I'm going to play that for you in just a second here. If you want to send me your audio clip, please do. LennyB.com is the website. On the site, you're going to see some information about the custom processing service. There's a red button up at the top. You click on that, and it'll bring you to the submission form and instructions. You prep your audio file first, follow the directions, and I've got them all listed there. You fill out a quick form. It just gives me some information about you so I know what I'm working with, and then you'll receive an email, and you just drop your audio file there, and it gets right to me. And depending upon how many submissions I'm working on, I try to get back to you as soon as I can and let you know. And then I send you a free custom processing example so you can hear exactly what your voice sounds like with a custom processing chain like I've done here for Perry. Okay, let's listen to the entire processing chain now. What I'm going to first do is I will switch on each one of the modules and we'll listen to it as it adds up. And then I'm going to play it back, all of them completely bypassed, and then I'll turn them all on, and you can hear the difference that this custom processing preset makes for Perry.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. And I'm also interested in doing commercials as well. Now, I do have a background in audio recording. My wife and I have put out several singles on Spotify, but I've never done voiceover work, and it's new to me. I'm using the Motu M4 audio interface and the Neat Worker Bee microphone. It's obvious that I'm not reading from a script. However, I just wanted you to get a sample of what my room sounds like with my voice.
You can definitely hear the dynamics have been minimized, so the loudest and the quietest parts of his voice are all represented more evenly. The boxiness has been removed with that first and second EQ. The saturation is really, really delicate, and it just adds just a little bit of thickness to the voice. And he's got a wonderful voice, by the way. He doesn't need much in the way of thickening up because he's got that really low bass. The first compressor really smashes those loud peaks of his voice, and the whole thing gets evened out again. The de-esser, I can hear it, and it's probably, I may go back and fine tune this a little bit, but it's pretty harsh. It's I may lift it up because he doesn't have a sibilance issue, in my opinion, in the original recording that much. So, but I definitely wanted to add just a little bit there to also illustrate this for you. The second EQ really brightens things up and scoops out a little more of that boxy mid-range. And then that final compressor, a lot of people say that it just kind of puts the glue that kind of brings everything together, and it has that cohesive, almost broadcast kind of a sound. Now, is this particular plug-in chain perfect for him? I don't know. We can modify it, and I'm happy to do that for him. And we'll go back and forth. And if it's something that he likes, he may say, I like it, but I wish it was a little more this, a little more that. You know, I have to put this first lump of clay on the table that we can both mold and eventually come up with something that he's happy with. That's my goal. Let's listen to the entire chain first, bypassed, and then we'll engage it, and you can hear the difference between the two.
Greetings. My name is Perry Walker, and I'm interested in becoming a voiceover actor. And I'm also interested in doing commercials as well. Now, I do have a background in audio recording. My wife and I have put out several singles on Spotify, but I've never done voiceover work, and it's new to me. I'm using the Motu M4 audio interface and the Neat Worker Bee microphone. It's obvious that I'm not reading from a script. However, I just wanted you to get a sample of what my room sounds like with my voice.
This type of audio processing is some of the work that I do for my voiceover clients. And whether you're doing voiceover for commercial advertisements or audiobooks or animation or video games, the list goes on and on, I can help you make your voice sound better. There's a bunch of free courses on my website. One is about recording basics. I've got some EQ techniques that are really cool, and even a voiceover frequency guide that can help you. Just hit the website. It's lennyb.com. I want to thank my buddy Isaac over at Neat Microphones for sending me this mic. And I don't have to tell you if it's good or not. I've been using this mic on this video. You've heard it, and you can decide if you like the quality and the sound for yourself. But I will tell you, I'll leave you with this. There's a lot of shootouts and things online, and they're great. And you can research a microphone and hear what the mic sounds like, and it could be on clean preamps or colored preamps that have a little bit of saturation on them or whatever. But I think it's very important to hear a microphone and what it can sound like in a treated room, which this is, and which Perry also had. That adds to the quality. And you should also be able to hear a microphone with processing and what it can sound like with proper voice processing. Then you can get a true representation of the product, in my opinion. So that's why I'm going to be doing more of this kind of stuff. Send me your audio. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. I'm happy to answer. And I do a pretty good job of getting right back to you and explaining and helping and teaching. It's what I love to do. I love talking about EQ, compression, and plugins and all stuff audio. I'm Lenny B. Thank you for watching.